It's rhinos in a can! Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Many of you are probably kind of coming back from the holidays and getting back into the regular swing of things. If you took a few days off from watching content, there's some really sweet stuff that you might have missed, such as Simic Hammer Time. So, you've got bonus videos to catch up on. Check them out, they're pretty good. Alright, so today's deck list comes to us from Sean, who has sort of a spicy Jund Cascade deck list. It is technically Jund, but we are really green-red as the base. So there's two cards that are making this deck work. Number one is Bloodbraid Marauder. If you have Delirium, this spell picks up Cascade. So whenever you cast Bloodbraid Marauder, it is supposed to get you directly into a Crashing Footfalls, which is, cool. My friend Brian Boschenroll, says that these are rhinos in a can, and when you can put, 10 or 11 power into play on turn 1 off of these, because we are, in theory, going to be accelerating them out via Spirit Guides, that's a lot of pressure. And Amp Raptor is our other pseudo-Cascade card here. So Amped Raptor is not always going to hit in this deck because we are going to kind of have a plan B here. More on that in a second. But our idea is to kind of go fast on these cards like Amped Raptor and Bloodbraid Marauder. The thing here is, though, that this is only good once we have Delirium. So we need to set that up, which is where cards like Once Upon a Time are going to come in. I added a Surveil land into the deck that wasn't originally in the deck, and then we're going to be playing 8 cards that function the same sort of way. Malevolent Rumble lets you look at the top 4. You can put a permanent into your hand and make an Eldrazi spawn token, and the rest of these then go to the graveyard. And then we have our squirrel-themed version of that. We are probably not going to control a squirrel while playing this deck list, though. So we're going to do a little bit of self-mill to enable this. And floating around the deck list, we have some things that normally might not be there. So like we have some enchantment creatures, we have some planeswalker creatures, we have a couple of artifact lands, so that we just have an ever so slightly higher chance of being able to kind of turn on that Delirium. A lot of times legacy decks will cheat Delirium by playing the baubles. Oh no, too many baubles. By playing something like Urza's Bauble or Mishra's Bauble to dump artifacts into graveyard. Fetch lands usually cover lands, and then, a Ponder or Brainstorm later, and you're probably in good shape. We don't necessarily get to do that same thing here, because we would have to be worrying about cascading into it. Hogaak is going to be our backup plan here. Just cast an 8/8 Trampler. To do this, we need a handful of cards in our graveyard. That shouldn't be overly difficult. And we need a couple of green creatures, and that's where Springheart Nantuko comes into play. So this is kind of the overall plan for the deck list. Fill the graveyard, make some rhinos, make some more rhinos, make some more rhinos, and hopefully the opponent is dead. I had to build the sideboard for this one. I am kind of taking called shots here. The metagame in Legacy right now is still above 50% combo. So I'm going to focus my efforts in on the combo decks and hope that the stuff that is going on in Game 1 is strong enough for the fair decks. So we are going to play Leyline of the Void as our graveyard hate. It's not something that we can cascade into. And some of the other graveyard hate might, emphasis on might, cause some problems for us. I'm going to go ham on Collector Oof. There's a lot of Mystic Forge One Ring combo in the metagame still. And this also just shuts off artifact mana from various Storms decks, from Oops All Spells, that sort of stuff. We're going to go with Cursed Totem to heavily impact Nadu. You could go bigger. I forget if it's Damping Matrix or Dampening Matrix. You could go a little bit bigger for Damping Matrix. But I think we have the temporary mana to easily accelerate out 2 drops, but the 3 drop might not come down before my opponent can just combo off on turn 2. So I went with Cursed Totem. We are going to do Inevitable Betrayal for the Reanimator matchup in particular, although it also hits some things like Show and Tell. Just being able to cascade into this is relatively strong, and probably stronger than Crashing Footfalls, and occasionally we might steal an Emrakul or an Archon of Cruelty or something really cool like that out of another deck as well. Now, the Collector Oofs do have a little bit of splashback on the 2 random artifact lands that we're playing. Hopefully that doesn't come up too much, but if we are just slamming a Collector Oof into play very consistently, hopefully that's fine for those matchups. Now, there's not really removal in this deck list, which makes me a little bit nervous, but hopefully we go bigger than what our opponents are doing, or we go wide of what our opponents are doing, and it doesn't matter that much. This is definitely one of those days where we're going to learn some things about this deck real quick after we start playing, and we'll kind of figure out what holes we have, and we can adjust from there. All right, folks, if you need any cards for the new year, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you a little bit on your order. If you're going to a major event, such as, I don't know, MagicCon Chicago, or there's another event coming up in Atlanta, not too far away, I think. Consider placing your order online and picking it up on site. It's been super convenient for me to do that. With that being said, let's battle. All right, I think I'm keeping this one. We're just going to do an Amped Raptor thing on turn 1 and see where that leads us. I can also Once Upon a Time beyond that. I will Once Upon a Time in response to that. Probably just taking the extra land drop here in case my opponent takes Simian's Spirit Guide. Yeah, that's the plan. So in good news, this is going to put another card type into my graveyard. Presumably a creature. I don't think I'm going to get both enchantment and creature off of this Thoughtseize. Alright, opponent is taking my Spirit Guide, so they are opting to eliminate my speed. Well, they tried. I would have taken the Amped Raptor from that previous hand because of this exact thing. Like, these don't do anything until Delirium happens. And I might set that up with Overlord of the Bale Merc. Yes, I will cast Malevolent Rumble. I would love to hit a red Spirit Guide here, because then I just Bloodbraid Marauder too. Holy shit. Red Spirit Guide. 4 card types in graveyard. So use the Eldrazi spawn, use the Simian Spirit Guide. Now we get to Cascade. We get to Cascade immediately into Rhinos. And I think my opponent lost this game by taking the wrong card with Thoughtseize. It is possible that they are a dedicated combo deck that can outrace this. But this is 8, 10. This is 13 damage. My opponent will be at 5 from the next attack step. Yeah. Yeah. Holy shit. That was a turn. I am unsure what my opponent is playing. Bayou Thoughtseize is generic enough that this could be a fair mid-range deck, or this could be a combo deck. I think I'm just not gonna sideboard. So, like, if my opponent's playing something fair, like, say, Maverick, the Cursed Totem does a lot of work. I don't think I want to make a called shot on this. I don't think I want to make a called shot on this. I think I'm gonna resubmit the Game 1 deck in the absence of information here. This is not gonna do it. This just has 1 mana to start off with. This second hand does not go turbo, but is hopefully fine. I can do a Surveil land on turn 1. Okay, so they're probably playing fair. I can do a Surveil land on turn 1 into Amped Raptor on turn 2. That is a perfectly good card that I think I'm just going to throw into graveyard. I think I just want to YOLO Amped Raptor next turn. I think I just want to YOLO Amped Raptor 2 turns from now. Bright Arbor beats. 19. 2 card types in graveyard. I have a basic forest. I do. I have 1 of each basic. Well, I don't have a swamp, I don't think. Let's confirm that. Yeah, I do not have swamp. Okay. Let's just go Mountain Pass then. Nurturing Peatland. Opponent is holding up mana, maybe for a removal spell. This is perfectly fine as a draw. Get my basic. No covered forest. Yeah, I think I just do this here. We hit another Amped Raptor, which I will cast So now I get my energy, but I did not cast this one from hand, so I don't do the Cascade thing again. So we have just made 2/2/1 first strikers, so we don't trade evenly with something like an Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy here. Not even a Bowmaster. See what opponent has. Have white mana? Alright, so Maverick overall vibes were probably correct then. Don't mind this Thoughtseize, that helps with card types in Graveyard. Like, the Grist is the scariest card on the surface, but if my opponent plays Grist, I just get to Cascade into Rhinos immediately. Yeah, so they can't really take that. So now I can probably just Grist and kill Dryad Arbor. I think I will be perfectly happy with that. Springheart Nantuko is pretty darn good, though. Yeah, maybe I need to save Grist to remove something scarier. Also gives my opponent an opportunity to use a Fatal Push. Nope. Alright. So Wooded Foothills, I'll make a friend. Get my 1/1. This also means that I don't have to sacrifice an Amped Raptor, which is a valid attacker. I hope I'm not just walking into natural order by not removing this Dryad Arbor. I guess if it's a natural order, it's natural order for Atraxa, which is beatable via Grist. Just refuels my opponent. 11? Knight is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch and make another friend here. I've already used Commercial District, so I will just pick up a black land here so that I can Grist. I've got some cool stuff to get going in a minute. I don't think I take any risks here, though, in missing on, like, Malevolent Rumble. So let's minus, sacrifice an insect, destroy Knight of the Reliquary, bash in for 6. My opponent's Dryad Arbor can kill Grist. I don't care if they kill Grist. Like, I am currently trying to reduce my opponent's life total to 0 as quickly as possible. Alright, 5th mana. Yep, that's fine. Goodbye, Grist. Opponent just holding up mana. So Endurance is a thing that could happen mid-combat. Could bestow here to make that less of a thing. I think I just like looking for a Cascade card here, though. Fail. Yes, I will take another Springheart Nantuko. So I could get deeper in my deck. I'm just going to make the even larger Amped Raptor. I can also just start grinding value off of the Springheart Nantuko by making another copy. Yeah. Right, we are getting a response. This is an intervening if clause, so that is going to stop that. I will just get a regular 1/1. Now I'm going to go ahead and bestow, I think, onto Amped Raptor. We'll go to combat. We'll swing in. We'll see if we get ambushed. But I'm just trying to go wide for a couple of points of life here. My opponent takes 1 to cast an Endurance. They're still taking 2 more points of damage. Okay, it is Endurance. So this does clear out my graveyard. My opponent's going to take 2 and needs to be able to block 2 creatures next turn. They need to be able to block 3 creatures. Yeah, so the points of damage represented here and here are absolutely terrifying. Are we cycling? We are cycling, in which case you probably should not have played Windswept Heath prior to seeing what the next draw is, because the next draw can be something that does not cost you life to produce mana. Alright, 1. So now I have 4 lethal attackers here. Outland Liberator is not doing it. My opponent needs something else beyond this. A Swords to Plowshares. Sure. I just bestow onto an Eldrazi spawn token, and I think I win this one. So, yeah. Oh, I guess this has more text. I'll grab a Spirit Guide. So my opponent, if I bestow here, my opponent could block, 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 tap Dryad Arbor, sacrifice, blow this up, and not die. I really just wanted to land this turn. I think I'm just going to cast a Spirit Guide past the turn and not make a crazy attack that potentially loses me this game. Like, with a single land drop, I just get to go absolutely fucking wild in terms of going wide of my opponent. A Green Sun or Fiend Artisan, sure. The scary thing is that if my opponent has a life linker, things all of a sudden get dicey. My opponent is sitting here thinking now. I wonder if they are thinking about whether or not they need to remove Springheart Nantuko immediately. awkward 3-card types in graveyard. Surgical Extraction. Sure. Now at 2-card types in graveyard. So I have 5 creatures. My opponent can do the same thing as before. So I think we are just trying to go wide of what they are currently doing. I think I am not bestowing this. I think I am just casting this. So the good thing about Fiend Artisan for me is that it has to be activated as a sorcery. So I will get to see anything coming. All right, so is it a Goyf? Oh, fuck, it's a Plague Engineer. So that on Insect is very, very good. Guess I could have played around that by bestowing on something, but that did not seem correct to me. This is green creatures specifically. Well, okay, I guess green or black, so this doesn't do anything right now. What poor timing. All right, now we're just kind of waiting this out in an unfortunate way, I think. Volrath's Stronghold. Sure. The Green Sun? Scavenging Ooze is very bad for me. That's persistent life gain. And I have plenty of food. Like, that's life gain and keeping my graveyard in check for Bloodbraid Marauders. And my opponent just has a Death Toucher for Hogaak. I'm going to play this one out, but I think we've lost at this stage. Yep. 18. Commercial District is not great currently. Amped Raptor is fine. Alright, opponent had some trouble deciding how many creatures they want to swing in with. I think this spawn token is fine to give up for a couple of points of life here. Elector Oof. Interesting. Do not have anything that impacts that. So my opponent not necessarily know that. I'm running 4 of those myself, I think. Alright, trigger. We'll take the Marauder. So my opponent did not preemptively eat my graveyard, so I do just get Cascade off of this spell. So I am going to get Rhinos still. My opponent doesn't have an opportunity to eat with Scavenging Ooze to disrupt that. He could have done that with like the other triggers on the stack earlier. Now I Crashing Footfalls. I now have 2 green creatures in play. It allows me to Hogaak. So yeah, you can't block anyway. You can't block anyway. Yeah, something like that. And hopefully I kill my opponent next turn. I guess I could have eaten all of the creatures out of my graveyard. I was trying to keep card types in there, but I think it's just better to eat my own creatures out of graveyard so my opponent can't gain life with Scavenging Ooze. I think that was a mistake on my end. So now we'll see Ooze go nuts. Yeah, so I could have denied 2 more life. So now I have some creatures that actually have Trample. And the Trample is relevant. If my opponent eats their own things, they shrink their creatures, like the Fiend Artisan. Outland Liberator also flipped back to the front side. Combat Math starts getting all sorts of wonky with like First Strike and eating things with Scavenging Ooze. Opponent also in real danger of timing out if we go to a game 3. Down to 4. Let's see what Fiend Artisan tutors up. Is a Knight of the Reliquary. Frenzied Trapbreaker now. So let's cast a Once Upon a Time here. Overlord is cool. Probably take that here. Now I need to math. Alright, so these bounce. Rhino gets blocked. Rhino gets blocked. I think this is not a lethal attack if I make an attack this turn. I kind of like the idea of attacking with Hogaak. No, there's going to be a priority pass where my opponent can eat that. And I do this turn in a way where my opponent is tapped out on mana going into second main phase so that I can redo Hogaak. So if I attack with everything, this, and these 4 are coming in. One of these gets walled. Let's say it's this one. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coming in. The Plague Engineer also blocks. My opponent can take 5. No, they can eat Hogaak still. At some losses to their team. Killing this Knight of the Reliquary is kind of a big deal. I might just die on the crackback if I attack in, though. Do I cast Overlord of the Balemark this turn? I think I cast it as a 5/5 next turn. I think I keep stalling this game. Yeah, I think I'm going to cast it as a 5/5 next turn and stall this game. Alright, so we're going to see some Ooze activations. Well, that's fine. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to just cast Overlord of the Balemark this turn in respect of Frenzied Trapbreaker, though. Maybe like it as a 5/5 is not actually relevant. Opponent going to return a Knight of the Reliquary to play, or sorry, to top of deck and then cast it, which is fine. Those are some large creatures. We're chilling. That's awkward. My opponent doesn't really have mana up right now. Maybe I am now doing the 2-mana version of this in an attempt to fill my graveyard. I've only got instants in there. Let's try it. So, yes, I have instant, creature, sorcery, land. So this is now 4 card types. I will Cascade. I will Crashing Footfalls. All right, how do my attacks look? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures to my opponent's 7 blockers. So probably not good, especially if Maze of Ith ends up getting involved. I'll pass the turn. If I Overlord... No, never mind. Yeah, I think it's boring, but I think I am now trying to time my opponent out this game rather than deal 5 points of combat damage. Raucous is great. Something big. Is another green sun. Wrist, another knight. Another knight, sure. Opponent making 1 attack here with a knight. I'm not trying to kill my opponent anymore, so we'll do a chump block. So I have plenty of card types in graveyard. I now get to Cascade because my opponent isn't actively eating with Scavenging Ooze. So while we can Cascade, let us Cascade. This is my last set of rhinos, I believe. Oh shit. No, I am out of rhinos. Slight change of plans then. Let's minus Grist. Sacrifice this Marauder. I think Scavenging Ooze is the biggest problem card here. I'm going to try to kill that. I am having a very weird situation here with priority. Alright, so Scavenging Ooze eats a card in response and is dead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one can attack. Alright, so block, 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 block-ish. This might be a lethal attack. Depends on whether or not something like Maze of Ith gets involved. The issue is that if I don't... If this is not lethal, I die on the backswing. So let's assume on rhinos, block, block, Maze of Ith. That's 1 damage. My opponent is at 5. There's 3 valid blockers. Block, block, block. Not lethal. Yeah, I don't think I attack. I also don't think I need to cast a Hogaak. Alright, so Knight's happening. Alright, Blast Zone is interesting as a way to clear my various 2-drops. Plague Engineer is attacking into my Amped Raptor, which has First Strike. I mean, show me your trick. You want to kill this and then put it on top with Volrath's Stronghold? I am okay if that is the case. Boseiju is cool. Go ahead and plus here. I think I just Boseiju Blast Zone if my opponent puts counters on it. And again, we are not currently trying to win the game. We are trying to time my opponent out. There's the counters on Blast Zone. We will Boseiju that. My opponent can have a forest. You may put your Plague Engineer back on top. That is fine. Plague Engineer can come back and kill these. They're not blockers anyway, so they don't super matter. Bam. Bam. That's fine. That's fine. Sure. So combat damage goes through. Go ahead and plus with Grist. This is a Dryad Arbor. I'll pass the turn. My opponent has 4 seconds on their clock left. All right. I think both players made a lot of mistakes in that very, very long and grindy game. But I think my opponent's biggest mistake was just playing too slowly. Like, I had double the amount of clock remaining at one point, so I just decided that my win condition became timeout, and they were not playing fast enough or aggressively enough to get around the plan that I shifted into. So it's not necessarily the most exciting way to win, but W is a W. Regardless of the exact timeout there, if we go to a game 3 and my opponent has anywhere under, maybe about 5 minutes left, I don't think they are winning anyway. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I personally keep all of my deck lists for every format on this site. I love that I can go and sort them by types and tags if I need to. There's a lot of different viewing options. It can give you some math about your mana symbol, your curve, and you can even playtest and do sample opening hands with it. Check this site out if you haven't before. It's awesome. Okay, I need a second to parse this one. So I cast Once Upon a Time. That is one card into my graveyard. I cast Malevolent Rumble. That is a bunch of cards into my graveyard. I don't have the red mana yet for Bloodbraid Marauder. I have double Hogaak, which is awkward. Is this hand capable? I think it is. I get a lot of looks at red Spirit Guide, which I think makes this hand pop off. And we'll just see how quickly my opponent goes here. Possible that we just get outpaced. Opponent hit the undo button, so whatever they do, it's not being done off of 3 mana, so they must have a 4-drop like the One Ring. That's not bad. I believe that I cast Once Upon a Time here because I have a Surveil land that I could hit that could be relevant to play. There is Red Spirit Guide. I will be taking that. So now I have Malevolent Rumble into Bloodbraid Marauder next turn. I think I play Urborg here. If I get Wastelanded, I want it to be Urborg. Yeah, my opponent probably does not care about the Urborg. Okay, yeah, that's about expected. Boseiju notably destroys, so that does not interact with the One Ring, unfortunately. And now hopefully I just put a metric shit ton of power into play on my turn. Yeah, let's save Boseiju. Get a Taiga. So cast Malevolent Rumble. I will have instant sorcery land in graveyard. Pick up a Spirit Guide. So now I can Bloodbraid Marauder, Cascade into Rhinos, putting a ton of power into play. So now I Hogaak on top of that. 1, 2, 3. To get rid of 4 of these. The Dryad Arbor by itself is a land creature. Then I can get rid of a sorcery. With 3 cards, I still have 4 types. So 8, 16, 19, plus 1, lethal damage. Hello and good luck. Notably, all I need to do is, put out 1 creature that can block or cast another One Ring. There's plenty of ways for my opponent to get through this situation. I do not believe that this is game over for them. Arn. They have Ensnaring Bridge. I Boseiju that. They do have Ensnaring Bridge. I Boseiju that. Alright. Life does that gain? Oh, it's 2 though. My opponent currently does not have the mana showing to activate that and gain life. So as things currently... the land from Boseiju. Ooh, the land from Boseiju enters untapped. So my opponent effectively is at 22. 8, 16, 19, gain 3, take 1. I change this with Springheart Nantuko? No, because that's only a +1. Damn, so I do have to take a turn to kill Karn. That's unfortunate. Alright, so I will bestow. We'll make a land drop to make a friend. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Great Furnace is an artifact land. Oh, I just punted so hard. I'm upset. Okay. Wait. God damn it, I punted a second time. So if I had caught that a quarter of a second sooner, this costs 1 less because I control a legendary creature, so I can Boseiju off of Spirit Guide alone. God damn it. Alright, double punted that turn. Hopefully it's fine. Mox Opal. Rim Monolith. Karn does Karn stuff. Alright. Boseiju still work from hand. I guess we'll find out. No, it's all permanent. All junk lattice here. Yeah, if I just... fuck. Let's see if I can salvage this game. Right, no basic land type cards in their deck. Do I have another Boseiju? Nope. Okay. So, game gets weird. I now use this insect token. This is not correct. I am not Karn. To attack and kill Karn. Or try to, I guess. 6 mana. Kozilek's Command? Kozilek's Command. Sure. This is not great for me. I probably lose from here. But there's this tension between my opponent's life total, their hand size, the One Ring, Ensnaring Bridge. It is possible that I wiggle through this. Maybe not anymore. That's going to be blockers and damage and all sorts of stuff. Now my opponent can just go ham with the One Ring. I punted this game twice in 5 seconds. Opponent gets an untap on Monolith. Now there's Mystic Forge, the One Ring. Alright, at this point I'm going to give you relevant updates as my opponent is probably going to take a very large number of game actions. Okay, my opponent now has 2 copies of Glaring Fleshraker, another turn of protection with the One Ring, and a gajillion cards. I think this is the point where I can safely concede this one. Alright, let's try to recover from our punt. Alright, we have these 6 cards for this matchup. Grist specifically kills Karn, and that's all fine and good. I think I ignore that. I think I'm usually trying to kill Karn with combat damage. And I don't know exactly where we trim cards here. Because, like, the 1/1s matter for, like, Ensnaring Bridge purposes sometimes. Hogaak helps us go wild early, which is cool. Maybe something like that. So this is 5 looks at Collector Oof, 6 looks at Collector Oof. The rest of the hand's not amazing, though. I can turn 1 Collector Oof with this hand some portion of the time. I think this is replaceable. Funny. I don't think I keep that. It's very awkward. This is fine. We'll get rid of Malevolent Rumble. Malevolent Rumble? I think I pull a Taiga out of my deck and then cast Once Upon a Time. Like that super marginal thinning on looks at Collector Oof. Miss. Then I just want extra copies of Amped Raptor. So we'll see if we now randomly hit Collector Oof. We don't. We hit Bloodbraid Marauder. I put 5 power into play on turn 1. That's not bad. We'll see if my opponent has a better turn, though. Like Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith, untap thingy. Ooh. Okay. Not immediately. Great. I think I want this to be a Surveil land prior to casting Amped Raptor. Weird as that is. Sage, you can go into graveyard. Nothing changes the amount of initial damage that I do. I'll send in for 5. Opponent's at 13. Then we will Amped Raptor again. Collector Roof, baby. Alright, we will accept Crashing Footfalls. This is just lethal next turn. Lethal turn 3 on a Mold of 5 is pretty acceptable. But, you know, my opponent can just cast the One Ring here and buy a substantial amount of time. But, like, they're looking at Ancient Tomb, double Ancient Tomb, and the One Ring here. Yup. Creatures aren't really attacking anyway. Let's take out some lands from this. Good luck. Alright, they are going to take their draws. Now they have double Manifold Key. They can draw a lot of cards here. Points of life are precious. Mana is also precious. There's a tower. And an untap on the ring. So it takes 4 mana to cast a new One Ring to Fog again, which costs 4 life off double Ancient Tomb as of right now. Yeah. Alright, hopefully we just play Collector Oof on turn 1. This game, I might want Grist when I'm on the draw. Karn can get powered out. I don't know that I need Hogaak. I'll kill my opponent with whatever if I stop them from doing their things. This is turn 1 Collector Oof. Keep. The second Once Upon a Time is like ever so slightly awkward, but I don't think that big of a deal. Again, there is a fear though that my opponent can just play a 4-drop on turn 1. Specifically Karn. Karn on turn 1 before my Collector Oof comes down would be a pretty big deal. Planar Nexus. That's fine. So 3 Once Upon a Time. I don't actually have red mana for that Amped Raptor as of right now, because I'm going to use my Spirit Guide immediately, so I will just take the less powerful green card that I am guaranteed to be able to cast. And hopefully this is good. I am probably just going to be putting pants on this and crashing in. Making additional copies of Collector Oof does sound good to play around Dismember style effects. My opponent still has 4 mana this turn. Nice. Alright, and no immediate Dismember, which would have allowed them to start using this stuff. Yep. So we're just going to go ahead and bestow here. Notably, like a Kozilek's command is an out to one of these. We want to make a second ASAP. There's so much mana through a hate card. All right, that's a fog. I would just like to draw a land this turn. Nice. So, land drop. Yes. Make another collector oof. Now a single Kozilek's command or dismember does not unlock all of my opponent's permanents. Oh, right. I got excited. The creature being tapped versus untapped probably does not actually matter. Now the next question is, do I save Misty Rainforest for my own turn to make more copies of Collector Oof? Opponent tutors. This is an ensnaring bridge. I will just make a 1/1 portable hole. Seems good. Presumably targeting this Collector Oof. Yes. Go ahead and get a Surveil land here. Dryad Arbor, actually? I'm already attacking Karn for lethal. Now let's get red. So no to that, make a 1/1. If something goes wrong, I want this card. Like if my opponent's last card is a Dismember, for example. Let's go combat. Attack Karn, attack you, because we're not expecting anything here to interact with any of these. Alright, Karn's dead. Opponent's at 16. I think I'm going to try to high roll this turn a little bit. So let's Malevolent Rumble. I will take an Amped Raptor. There are 4 card types in Graveyard. So I can Cascade. Is that the best thing to do? Or do I just want to randomly try to hit another Collector Oof here? I think I want to randomly try to hit another Collector Oof. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe it's not, though. Like, I don't know, just putting lethal in play is probably good. Alright, let's just put lethal in play. So Cascade, last turn. Or sorry, this is 15, isn't it? 4, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Because my opponent's not actually dealing a point of damage to themselves with the One Ring. No, it is lethal. Springheart and Nantuko. It is a new Karn. Tutoring, presumably for Ensnaring Bridge. Sure. Okay. I can use Grist to answer that Karn. No, it's probably better for me to just do other things here. Okay. So attack Karn, kill Karn, put you to 15. Fantastic. So we are going to bestow onto Collector Oof. Do this. Fetch. Get Taiga. Make an extra Collector Oof. We just want to insulate from something like Kozilek's command removing my stuff. And any turn where my opponent does not have literally 0 cards in hand, I attack with an army of 1/1s. And otherwise, we can just work towards Grist Ultimate. Glaring Fleshraker is real good here. And Mystic Forge. That's very bad for me. I can Grist minus and kill a Glaring Fleshraker, though. So hopefully my opponent does not generate too many blockers this turn. Okay, cool. Opponent does have 0 cards in hand currently. I think this has to happen immediately. So yeah, minus. I think I actually just like destroy a Marauder or a Rhino token. Go Rhino token. Hit Glaring Fleshraker. Now Mystic Forge's activated ability can't be activated, but my opponent can still cast stuff from the top of their deck, which is not great for me. So this may end up becoming a relatively slow game. So Grist plus. Okay. So here's my current plan. We amped Raptor. What did I just exile? Simian Spirit Guide. No, don't cast that. Alright. And then we bestow Springheart Nantuko onto amped Raptor so that I can build up bonus energy. I would like to get to 4 energy so that if I ever play another amped Raptor, I can a 4 energy if I hit one of my copies of Force of Vigor. So many Collector Oofs. Alright. Once upon a time, hit a land. Select done. There's going to be some triggers. Third one is the one that I want to say yes to. So then I make more energy with Amped Raptor. Fetch, pick up a Dryad Arbor, because why not? Make more insect friends. Plus here. I hit another Grist. More lands from my opponent. My god, it's tapping for 7. How very silly. Alright, they get a fog. This is just basically free off the top for them. So no reason not to. So many collector oofs. So we'll plus. I'm gonna pop out this zone. Cool. I guess I cast these. I could like sit here and think about reasons not to cast them. I think I am just going to cast them. I have 4 creature cards in graveyard. So Grist's ultimate is only a drain for 4 right now. More land off the top. That'll do. So I will Boseiju the shit out of an ensnaring bridge. Yeah. I would like to go to combat. Alright, we end up salvaging a very, very bad mistake in game 1 that probably lost me a game. These matches have been much grindier than I was expecting for what is effectively an all-in aggro deck. Alright, I have kept this hand. We'll see kind of where it goes. Red Spirit Guide is fantastic. I'm going to take that. Do this first turn on a basic, even? Yeah. So, Snow-Covered Forest. We'll use Green Spirit Guide to Malevolent Rumble. So I have instant land sorcery creature, so I don't need enchantment. I'm also going to get artifact from this. So then I will use Eldrazi Spawn and Simian Spirit Guide to cascade into Rhinos. And I will get Hogaak afterwards as well. So, Crashing Footfalls. Nice. Hogaak. Okay, my opponent is not making me cast the Hogaak. Honestly, fair. That would have been, what, 8, 16, 19 on the attack turn 2. Pretty decent. 0 information about what opponent is playing. Therefore, my deck is perfect. No changes. Okay, my opponent has mulliganed. I can once upon a time for a mana dork to try to cast this immediately, but that doesn't do me any good. I won't have delirium. I think I'll just mulligan this one. Let's assume that spirit guides are good and that this hand ends up working out in some capacity. Blue deck. Sure. Okay. Alright. I think I want to play an Overlord into Daze here and let this slowly tick down over time. So yeah, cast it with Impending. Do we want this to be Dazed? We don't want this to be Force of Willed. Okay, we're in play. It sat on the stack for a little while. Yes, I will use this ability. There's only 3 card types in graveyard here. I think I'm going to do Amped Raptor. I think I wait to cast that until next turn. Like, this resolved, but it sat on the stack for a while. I think my opponent has a counterspell. And this is on enter, not on cast. Delver trigger. No flip. Second Delver. This is where it's scary for me because I'm not really playing removal. I take 1. Marauder, 3 card types in graveyard. This one is an on cast. A fetch. Pick up Taiga. I cast Amped Raptor and see how my opponent responds to that. So if this gets dazed, nope, okay. It's Elvish Spirit Guide, unfortunate. So my entire plan fell apart because I assumed that my opponent would interact with Amped Raptor. So I wanted this to go to graveyard. Ooh, that wouldn't have been my 4th type anyway. Oh well. This ticks down a bit. Yeah, maybe my read about my opponent having a counterspell was just wrong. Now I'm going to take a lot of damage. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to just Malevolent Rumble into Bloodbraid Marauder on my turn. Both Delvers are going to flip to Ponder. I take 6. Down to 12. So now I will Malevolent Rumble. Yes, I technically should attack first. Wrist to hand? Wrist to hand. It's not perfect. Send in for 2. Opponent goes to 18. Then, yeah, I will Cascade. Past the Footfalls. Alright, there's a Daze, which I will pay for. Force of Negation is rough. But now I need to draw a land next turn to cast this Grist, otherwise I am dead. Yeah, I think I played too conservatively. Like, I just don't really have removal in this deck. I think I need to stop being afraid and just jam. Like, I think I'm sideboarding 0 cards in this matchup, right? My opponent tanked for a long time at my end step, presumably thinking about whether or not they would like to surveil land or whether they need to keep the polluted delta available. All right. All right, so there is the land. So we're gonna go to punchies. Gonna punchies for 5. Opponent goes to 13. Then we will attempt grist. We are dead to another piece of interaction here. Yeah, that'll do. All right, so based on play patterns here, I think I just need to stay more aggressive than I was that game. Because I just very, very, very clearly need to be the beatdown here. We don't have something like Fury to just clean up a scary board. Okay, so my opening hand can fish for a spirit guide, but then I don't actually do anything very quickly. I think I mulligan this one. This hand has one of my few removal spells. I think I'm going to begrudgingly keep this one. There's a lot of ways this game can go, depending on what is revealed here. All right, so we do not see a spirit guide, which is what I wanted. I wanted to cast Amped Raptor on turn 1. We don't get that. So it's between Great Furnace and Amped Raptor. Great Furnace is good versus Wasteland specifically. Amped Raptor is just a generically good card. I'm going to take the generically good card and hope I don't get Wastelanded here. This is an ETB tapped land, so I need to play this one this turn. That is fantastic. I'm going to take that land. That land represents my second mana if I get Wastelanded, or it represents my black mana if I don't. All right, I do not get Wastelanded. We want to see Ponder. We don't want to see Delver or DRC on one. And we see it. We'll just see how nutty this gets. Opponent junks Lightning Bolt, presumably to just work on growing DRC. My opponent wants to be attacking for 3 as quickly as possible. So redraw, land drop, and we start doing stuff. We're in. It's a grist. Oh, that's unfortunate. All right. I mean, that's going to happen sometimes. It's just very unfortunate that 2 times in a row our Amped Raptors missed. That Wasteland sucks. That Delver is very bad for me as well. Only 3 card types in graveyard. DRC doesn't get to attack this turn. I believe it is correct to temporarily ignore my grist and try to do something broken. I'm going to just hope to hit another fetch land, I guess, and make it so that I can cast my next 3 cards 100% of the time. So we will Amped Raptor. That is Force of Will, unfortunately. My opponent likes their card. I am going to hold Amped Raptor back, because some small portion of the time DRC does not flip on their turn, and I hold back 1 damage. Opponent now has Force of Negation. I have a couple of instants, so I can play around that to some extent. But, like, I am supposed to be the beatdown, conceptually. This is 3 card types in graveyard. I think I'm casting an instant on their turn to fuel this. I'm going to hold this back by the same logic as last turn, I think. But it very well might hit me for 3. But if they have something that can flip it on my turn, then I would lose this creature on the attack anyway. So I think I'm good with this. So now I am taking 6 per turn cycle. I'm on a 3-turn clock. Opponent junks a Brazen Borrower. Sure. And is going to do another redraw. And look at that top card twice. I'm taking 6. I know my opponent has Force of Negation, or at least I did prior to the Brainstorm. The Force of Negation is not castable on their own turn. Spirit Guide or Bayou. I think I want Bayou for Grist. So now I can play this sub-game of whether or not I think they have Force of Negation still. Oh, I guess it's not a sub-game, right? Because they just redraw 2 cards, so even if it wasn't there anymore, they just redrew it back. All right, so Grist is not fair game. So, the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to use Rhinos as bait this turn. Try to get my opponent to Force of Negation that. And then resolve Grist next turn. I don't really know that matters, though. I can't block these flyers with my 4/4 Rhinos, even if they do resolve. Yeah. That my opponent still has... Or actually, Grist is not counterable by Force of Negation. Because it's a creature on the stack. Ah, fuck, I fucked that up then. I am supposed to jam Grist this turn. Hope that resolves. And then try to cascade the following turn. Grafdigger's Cage, sure. Doesn't do too much to me. These flyers are eating me alive. I can't actually successfully fetch with this land and have my plan work. I'm supposed to attack first for priority pass reasons involving Lightning Bolt. God damn it. I'm gonna live with my fuck up. I'm losing to Lightning Bolt anyway. Because Lightning Bolt just goes at my face and kills me. So Grist minus. Don't have the life to do something like get Dryad Arbor here. That also runs into problems with this. I hold this land, though, for later. So this is an activated ability that creates a triggered ability, unfortunately. So my opponent had Consigned to Memory both turns, and that just beats everything that I was doing. So I had opportunities to play that one a little bit tighter. But I think we are just going to have a major weakness to Delver decks without any sort of creature removal here. All right. Initial opening hand here has no mana sources. That is not going to do it. Second hand is awkward. I think I probably keep it. Instant land are easy. I think it's hard for me to get to this quickly. I think I'm going to get rid of that and keep my third land drop here. That way I can have this plus land drop on turn 3 potentially. And we hope to find a Amped Raptor off of this. And we're probably suspending Crashing Footfalls on 1. I could also keep the Bloodbraid Marauder and Surveil land on turn 1, and that's like perfectly reasonable as well. But I'm still just probably not doing anything immediately with it. Even on a little bit of a high roll. So let's Once Upon a Time. Hogaak. This is like really not the stuff that I'm looking for here. I think I will take the Hogaak. And we'll suspend Crashing Footfalls. This is a fairer hand than what I would like. I don't know that it's worth mulliganing to 5, though. City of Traders, Lotus Petal. I mean, I'm going to put in the Hogaak. But you know I have Hogaak, so whatever you're doing is just better. Yeah, Atraxa is slightly better than Hogaak. We don't really have too much for show and tell other than Inevitable Betrayal. Brainstorm, Scalding Tarn, Ponder, Sneak Attack, Atraxa. Okay. 1 card type in graveyard. Hogaak can be 2, land can be 3. I'm not getting it this turn, that's for sure. I will Taiga. I'm going to bestow this because I think there's very little downside in doing so. I'm going to attack in for 9. My opponent might not even trade. Like, they can just take it and then attack me back for 7. Luckily, my opponent's sneak attack is, like, not super good right now because they're about to lose their City of Traders. So they need either a Lotus Petal or a Spirit Guide in order to sneak attack this turn. I would like to draw, like, maybe a Malevolent Rumble for my turn. Just finish filling my graveyard, Bloodbraid Marauder from there. Trax is so tough to beat, though. I take 7. More importantly, my opponent gains 7. The Footfalls ticks down. Once Upon a Time is not good here. I'll send in with Hogaak. Really only accomplishing 2 points of damage per turn cycle, which is not great. I don't know what exactly gets me out of this situation. Oh wow, that was worth a Force of Will. Sure. I'll make a 1/1. No, I do know. It's Grist. Grist is what gets me out of this situation. Yeah, and again, we're just kind of seeing my deck having problems with flyers. That might be something to address if anyone at home is going to try out this deck. There's a fetch to clear the Brainstorm. And a Petal. So this draw needs to be Grist. We're not going to reach the point where Crashing Footfalls comes off of Cascade. Is there an out for Amped Raptor here? What if I hit Malevolent Rumble? Can I Malevolent Rumble into Grist? No. In which case, I'm not going to show my opponent another card. Opponent did something more broken than what I did. To be fair, the broken thing that I did was put a creature in off of show and tell. Alright, Inevitable Betrayal in, Crashing Footfalls out. I am probably going to play copies of Force of Vigor. Rimming Once upon a time? I don't know. I want looks at Bloodbraid Marauder specifically. Springheart Nantuko matters a lot less in this matchup. I think this is unimpressive. Both copies of Inevitable Betrayal in hand. Classic. I could put one back in deck. I can cast Malevolent Rumble on turn 1 here. I think I'm going to go to 5. On 5, I think I would keep something that looks like that. Yikes. I think I keep this in Believe. I think I keep this and just absolutely Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards Believe. I'll cast this on my opponent's turn in case Force of Negation is a thing, but I'm not going to let it get dazed. So let's grab. We are looking for a Marauder. Yikes. Absolutely whiff on anything relevant. So it's third land to hand versus show and tell, have Hogaak in hand. I think I take Hogaak to hand. So now Surveil land becomes about the best thing that I can do with my turn. I'm in bad shape. Riot Arbor is a green creature towards a Hogaak. I think the best I can do for this turn cycle is just Surveil. I am not putting up the pressure that I need to. I wanted to make like 11 plus power on turn 1 or turn 2 ideally. That's not happening. Opponent has their second land drop. Yep. That's not that bad. Wait, that is that bad though, isn't it? Because that hits my Inevitable Betrayals. That's very awkward. Or does Inevitable Betrayal exile it first? What's my wording? Nope. Fuck. That's bad. So we're in a commercial district. This does mean that if I top deck like a Grist, it's very awkward. This is incredibly awkward, but okay. Don't look, YouTube. Oop, I need to do green for that. So we are going to cast a green Spirit Guide. We're going to play Riot Arbor. Put a Hogaak into my hand. So that's green, green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll leave Artifact land in there. Dazable or Force of Willable or whatever. Okay, it's in play. You're telling me there's a chance. Uh-oh. Fuck. So now we just like have this Atraxa problem again. And the Grafdigger's Cage incidentally stops me from getting my own Atraxa or whatever. I think I'm dead here. GG's. Ugh. Okay. This is kind of a slow hand. I don't know that this is a legacy speed hand. Like I can try to set up multiple green creatures into Hogaak, but I'm not putting too many things into my graveyard here. I think I just have objectively more powerful hands. This is 1 mana short of doing the thing. I think I'll go to 5, but I probably need to stop being picky around 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is probably the way that I play this. Yeah. I think I am going to ignore Wasteland as a thing and get Taiga here. We're going to keep the green Spirit Guide. I think I'm just going to take a Misty. I think I just want to be able to Malevolent Rumble next turn into another relevant play very, very easily. If this is Delver again, we have already learned that this matchup is bad. And if this is Show and Tell, we've already learned that that matchup is also bad. So I do not like seeing Volcanic Island on the other side of the table here. Okay, the plan has changed. So we are going to cast this. We don't need to worry about days here. I will go ahead and Misty Rainforest, do this thing, fetch. I'm going to get black. Like, one of our Overlords is already in the graveyard. Is it fine making this dazable? Sure. Those cards suck. I'll take a Taiga. Yeah, but we looked real deep and just missed on any sort of amped Raptor, Bloodbraid Marauder stuff. I couldn't take the Overlord off the first one. I don't think it was correct to fetch a black land on the first turn. God damn it. Yeah. White? No, whatever. Okay, so I do think this is still Show and Tell. Well, yo dog, I heard you liked Springheart Nantuko. So trigger, I will sacrifice my spawn here. Make another Springheart Nantuko. I mean, we have spiraling damage at this point. If I hit another land drop, I make 2 more Springheart Nantukos. The real question here is just like, does my opponent put together their combo before I kill them? Like, they're on a 3-ish turn clock right now. Emphasis on the ish. Never mind, I'm just dead now. Yeah. Hogaak? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 permanents. So I'm not dead to this. I will Hogaak. Opponent takes 2 from the ring. I don't think I am in range of killing my opponent through an Emrakul attack. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 permanents. I lose 6 of them. Dealing with 4 permanents. Oh, I guess the bigger problem is that I just die to the fucking Emrakul, right? Yeah. No, that's the bigger problem, not permanent count. Alright, Inevitable Betrayal's in, Crashing Footfalls out, Force of Vigor in. I think I trimmed a Springheart before. I'm gonna say no to this. This is a YOLO hand where I have to believe in Amped Raptor. I think I am fine with doing that. But the plan of just casting Bloodbraid Marauder and winning is not working. It's just not lining up well. I don't think I get to throw back Amped Raptor into Amped Raptor. Alright. I will cast this. I will get back... Well, Overlord's not castable. Is Spirit Guide doing anything? I'm going to take an Overlord, even though it's not castable. The Spirit Guide is not doing me any favors immediately, and maybe I could put in an Overlord off a show and tell and find a Grist or something like that if the game goes on for a little while. Just main phase 1 Brainstorm. Could be an indicator that my opponent has something like Lorien revealed to just immediately shuffle, or it could just be that they were real close to going off on turn 2. Alright, Amped Raptor into Amped Raptor. Opponent says no. Pitching in Atraxa, which is a very good card. Alright, there's the Ancient Tomb. That's fine? You don't have blue mana? Yeah, we're totally good with that. Send it. Like, that's going to keep me from casting some stuff, but, you know, I got dudes. That's not a basic island. Yeah. Send them. Opponent goes to 11 and then 9. I will just cast another 2/2. I am so happy that my opponent cast Magus of the Moon rather than something that was winning the game. So the fear is now Sneak Attack plus Spirit Guide to activate. One Ring's also spooky. Do I need to keep this for any reason? Without green mana here, the answer is no. I will just put that into play. We're chilling. So again, fear is Sneak Attack plus activate. 2 cards, 5 total mana, 6 total mana. So that's blue. It's not blue for show and tell, it's blue for a ponder. That's hopefully good for me. Yeah. Okay, we can concede to the Emrakul attack here. Like, losing most of my permanents to this board is not doing it. We were live in that one, but our Inevitable Betrayals just did not happen in the last couple of rounds. Well, that was some surprisingly intricate gameplay. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Pretty good brew, honestly. I am overall happy with this. The deck needs removal in some capacity. I don't know if that's main deck or sideboard, but I think you need to have options that remove creatures, because a lot of times you can't race things like an Atraxa or 2 Delvers realistically. So maybe in the place of the Curse Totems in the sideboard or something like that, you run a couple copies of, I don't know, the red count is a little too light for Fury. I don't think it can be that. I don't think something like Tarfire that could count as 2 different types for Bloodbraid Marauder. I don't think that removes enough stuff in Legacy for that to be it. Maybe some sort of Sheldred's Edict, maybe Fatal Push. Maybe you play some actual removal over Grist in the main deck. Grist did some stuff. Like, maybe you just need more efficient removal sometimes. I think the ceiling of this deck is very high when the cards line up properly. Like, you can basically present lethal on turn 1, but the floor is also pretty low. Like, when your cards whiff, it does feel pretty bad. I am not sure the speed at which the deck should be built to play. Like, you could slow down a little bit and remove Once Upon a Time from the deck and add in more Overlords and try to grind things out. You would need a few removal spells to make that happen. And if you remove Once Upon a Time, like, maybe you have to add more lands. The 18 that we were playing seemed fine. 17 were originally submitted. I could see replacing Dryad Arbor with another Surveil land. I don't know how often Dryad Arbor being the second green creature for Hogaak is going to matter. I think there's some wiggle room here. But more importantly, I think the question to ask is, do you want to be doing this in Legacy right now? So I built a 15 card sideboard for combo because combo is, I forget what it is, like 54% of the metagame or something like that the last time that I checked. So like, do you want to just try to go as fast on your own in game one and then adapt to your opponent's own combo? Or, you know, if you want to be playing Jund, should you just be doing something that can Thoughtseize in the main deck? One final thing I think I want to say. So notably, cards like Shardless Agent and just go and do the thing 100% of the time with no setup other than just having 3 mana. Whereas Bloodbraid Marauder requires setup, and I am unsure whether or not this deck is going to end up being better than a blue version of this deck that just plays like Shardless Agent, Violent Outburst, and then some backup plans, be it Minsk and Boo or Murktide Regent or whatever. I am unsure whether this is faster and more consistent than other versions of similar decks that already exist, but the upside here is very high, and the deck building is sweet. Alright folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. If you need some cards, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU will let them know that they should keep supporting my content while saving you a little bit of money. See ya!